Great. So let's look at how to be able to split our data straight away. Um, it's very important. It's very, very important. How do we split our data? Okay, so I'm sharing my screen right now. And so I'm just pulling up my R Studio. So this is my clear R Studio. I want to look at how to split the data into training and then into test data sets. And so we can apply the rest of the functions on it. So how do we do this? Quickly. Okay, so let me go back and then just check something. Okay, I think what is it? Everything is fine. And so let me pull up my R Studio as well. And so before I'll be able to do that, I'm just going to, let's say, we're going to create our own data and then see how we'll be able to, do this. And so what I'm going to do is that, let's say I want to create a data of gender. Okay, so I'm going to say, or let's say that we are going to create a data set and look at the characteristics of voters in Ghana here, or we look at the characteristics of people who patronize a particular service. Okay, let's say whether they like to use MTN or they like to use Vodafone. Okay, so let's see, and so we'll try, and then I'll be able to use that particular data set and then find out whether is it, I mean, by using MTN or Vodafone, does it have some kind of dependencies? What influences your decision in that? All right, so let's go ahead and then we try and then build the model. So I'm going to start with gender. So this is my gender. I'm just creating my gender as a variable. So I'm just going to say gen, and so I'm going to come here and just put it this way. So gender, we have male and female. So gender, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to say sample, and so what am I sampling? I am going to sample, let's say, from a population. And so what is the population? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a vector and sample from that particular vector. And so I'm just going to say that I want to sample male and then a female. So I'm just going to do that, female, and then I am sampling from that particular population. And how many am I sampling? Let's say that I am sampling just 40. And then is it by replacement? And then probability, I could put it now, but this is okay. So if I to run it and come and print this gender, you're going to see that I have male, female, male, female. I just sample from it. Put it age like this, and then I'm just creating. So the age, what am I going to do? So let's say that I want to sample again. So I'm just sampling from a population of, let's say, okay, but because I want to make sure that I have a particular age range, I like to use run if. And so I'm sampling how many people? I'm sampling 40, and then I want the younger person to be 18, and I want the older person to be around 17. say I'm looking for MPs, and then of course I'm looking at lawyers. So okay, I'm looking at lawyers. So I'm sampling from this particular population, and then how many am I sampling? I'm sampling just 40, and then replacement. My replacement, I'm just going to make it true. It means that we can sample police twice. Okay, what is it? That's it. If not, we won't be able to do the sampling, because it would have finished sampling everybody, and then there will be nothing to sample again. So that is also there. Then what about salary? Maybe their salary could have an impact. So the salary, what are we going to do? We're going to create what is it? Okay. So let's also use the sample. I want everything to be random. So with the salary, we are sampling from 10,000. 10,000. Okay. So we are assuming that the maximum salary will be like 10,000, and then we are sampling what is it? How much? Is sampling, let's say 40 of them, and then we are also saying that replacement is true, because some people will have the same salary, and then we just put it this way and run it. And then what could be the last thing that I can think about? I've looked at gender, age, occupation, salary. Now let's look at whether the person would prefer to use MTN or Vodafone. So I'm going to say that preferred what the telecommunication network. So I'm just going to create that variable, and then when I come here, I still have to sample from, let's say, so I use the concatenate function, and then I'm just going to say here MTN, and then I just move out of that and say here I have Voda. So I can just leave it this way. And how many am I sampling? I'm sampling, let's say 40 of them. Okay, and then my replacement too would also be true. I just have it this way. So I run it. So now I can build a data frame. And what will be the name of that data frame? I can just say that okay, I want a data frame of that this will be a data of mobile usage, or mobile usage. So I'm going to say a df underscore mobile usage, or let me add b here, make it mobile usage. That's the name of my data frame. And so when I come here, I'm just going to say data.frame, and then I put all of them there. So I have my gen, and then comma, I have my age, and then I have my is 1C, occupa, and then I have my salary, and then of course I have my preferred telecommunication network, and I think my data frame might be ready by now. So it is. So I can just have a view of my data frame underscore, and then I have that. If I view it, if I pull this up, you're going to see that okay, now I have finished simulating the data. So I have gender, I have age, I have occupation, I have salary, I have and because I sample, you can see how the whole sample looks like. All we are going to do, we are going to build a model to see whether the way people use telecommunication networks, does it depend on their gender? Does it depend on their age? Does it depend on their occupation or their salary? So it means that here preferred telecommunication network is our a dependent variable, depending on these 4 other variables. So first of all, before you are able to use machine learning to be able to predict this, you see, or to come up with a model that can predict this, then we have to make sure that we split the data. And that's what this video is about. We want to split the data. We'll learn how to be able to split the data into, let's say, we are splitting the data into, so into training data and then test data. Now there are different ways of splitting. The one I showed you in the previous video, that is when you are customizing your splitting. For instance, I want to pick the first 5 columns, so it's not random. All right, if you have to do a random if you want to split your data at random basis, you have to use sample.split. That way you are dividing the data at random. You are not the one who is selecting your preferred. So when you do that, you're going to be biased. So what we do here, I'm going to use what is the sample.split, but you can see it is not there, so I need to the sample.split function comes with this package, CA tools. So I'm just going to library. I need to load the CA tools. Okay, it's inside, so I just have to activate that. And when I do that, now what I can do, I can now say sample. So you can see that sample.split is now there. And so the syntax is, you can see Y is there, which represents my data. Well, that's my data frame. Then the split ratio, I have to give my split ratio there. And then of course, I can just specify any other thing else that I want to do. So when I come here, where's my data? My data is simply the df underscore mobile something. That's my data. And then followed by my split ratio, which is already there. So how am I splitting it? I want to split 0.65. Let me put it that way. So it means that I am splitting, I'm taking part of the data, about 65% of the data as my training data, and I'll use the 35% as my test data. So when I finish training the data with the training data, when I finish training the model with the training data, then I can use the test data to be able to test the model and see how the model will perform. So I'm now coming here. So if I do this, I can just pack it into this variable, and I'll call it train sets. I'll just put train underscore sets, and so I'm just going to run that. So it means I have my train data, which is also seated. But when you do this, you haven't finished the splitting. Okay, if you do this, you have not finished the splitting. You have only just done something. So now we are now going to do what we call subsetting. So we subset the 65% out, and then what is it? Even at this, there's something that I omitted here. Now, when you are doing, if you want to split your data, you have to split it based on a particular column. What I've done here, I don't know if I printed what that is going to look like, but if I print the variable that I've just created, let's see how it looks like. You see that it gives me true, false, true, false, true, false. So so what I needed to have done here is to specify which column I am splitting. So I am splitting based on what the preferred telecommunication network usage. So now let me run that again. And so now if I print this particular variable, you will see that I now have a different way of splitting the data. Okay, and so now to be able to make the whole thing very short, so you can see this is how we are able to do the splitting. It's the same thing like I have done here. I've already done it. I'm just repeating for all of us to see how it is being done. So now you can see true, false, true, false, true, false. Now it doesn't really matter. Now, sorry. So what I'm going to do is to now do my subsets. So I'm going to do my subsets, and then what am I subsetting based on? So I'm going to say my subset, and then I'm just coming here, just coming to just explain this to make sure that I don't waste your time that much. So because these videos, I don't want them to be too long. Now I am now doing my subsets. There's the first one that I did. So the subset, you have to bring the data set that you are subsetting from. So I am subsetting, this is my preferred telecommunication network. So that's my data frame. My data frame is this one. And so when I do that, I think I can now split. I can now say that, okay, I am subsetting from this particular data frame, and then that particular data frame I have already splitted it, and I called it training set. So here I'm going to put over the training, or is it train underscore set, which is here, and I'm saying that what is the training set that I have just splitted. I wanted to subset it and then call it something else. Okay, now there's no underscore, so I put it here like that and then run it. So that subset is there. I'm coming to do the other one here, and then here in this case I no longer say, I will say false, because this one will take part of it and then the other one will take the 35%. And so here I will call that one the test sets. The tests sets. And so, but here again I have to say that I am using the train data set, the train underscore set, which is here. Get the difference. And now here I'm just looking at I'm looking at df underscore and then this particular one here. And so here, so all that I have done here is that the first time I split the data based on this particular ratio. The split ratio is 65%, and then I pack that into this. Okay, and so it is sitting in this variable here. Now the next thing I did is I decided to subset the data frame again, but this time around I am saying that go into the data frame and look at this variable that I created, train underscore data set, and if it is true, that particular split, if it is true, the whole of that into this variable called train set. Then I come again to subset my data frame, but in that particular data frame, this is what the instructions have given. Go into the train set ratio that I have created, which is like this, and if it is not true, that is, if it is equal to false, it means that if it doesn't fall within the 65% that I have already, pack any of them into this called test set, and that's what I have done. And so when you do that, I can now run the whole of, the 2 lines. I could not find the function. Okay, it's here. Here I did not highlight everything completely, so that's why it did not run. So let me just come and run it again. Sure, that ran properly. So now I have my training set and then I have my test set. So I can now come here and just visualize. So I have my train. So what I'm now working on, I'm working with this one, not the first one. And then I have my test sets. So I have my also tests underscore sets, which is also here. So now if I print the training set, you will see that it has sampled the data. 65% of the data has been sampled here. Now if I should print out the test set, then you can also see that this is the test set. So I'm going to use the 65%, which is on top here, up to this point, to be able to train my model. And after that, I will use this last part to test the model to see whether it works well or not. But all I'm going to do is that I want to find out telecommunication network that we have in Ghana here. The giants are Vodafone and MTN. The preferred usage, on what basis do people prefer to use Vodafone or MTN? It's simple like that. So it does it based on their salary? Does it based on their occupation? Is it based on their age, or is it based on their gender? And that's all I'm going to do. So Vodafone is going to be my dependent variable, explained by the independent variables which are here. And then we'll find out. When I build a model, we'll find out. But for now, this is all that I want you to know, how to be able to split your data. And you can use split, any of the split that I showed yesterday. Let me pull down this a little bit. Yesterday, I showed all this way how to be able to split your data in the manner that you want. But I'm saying that for the purpose of model building, for the purpose of building a model, or in machine learning, if you are going to split your data, use sample.split. The reason is that way it randomly split the data. It doesn't come with some kind of customization and some kind of like a preference in such a way that your data, your splitting is going to skew. You see, that way is not going to skew. And to be able to show you what happened, you can see that the training data that we have here, let me scroll up, let me show you something. You can see I have it. Look at the way it has splitted the data. You see how it has splitted, and then it also came down here, and you see the way it has splitted, just to make sure that the data is in order. So we can come down, and I also just decided to do this at random. So watch out for the next video. The next video I'm going to show you how to be able to use this simple data set that I just simulated to be able to find out which mobile network do people prefer to use, and on what basis do people prefer. And so in that case, if I build a model, I can say that, well, I mean, the preferred network in Ghana here is based on the gender, or it is based on occupation, or it's based on salary. We'll find out whether those who have higher salaries are those who prefer using MTN, or those who are what is it based on occupation? And occupation, we'll find out, is it teachers, or is it nurses, or is it MPs who like to use Vodafone as against MTN, and then in that order. And that's all machine learning is all about. Thank you. I'll see you in the other video. Bye-bye. All right, so I hope you've learned something small. Sorry I exceeded my time more, and then if you enjoyed this video, please do me a favor and support me. I mean, like, share, and then turn on the notification bell. As and when I am able to upload a new video, you will always be the first to know. I am taking machine learning step by step, detail, step by step, for all of us to get it and to get to know why we use machine learning a lot. We will get to the very, very complex area of machine learning, but trust me, you're going to understand everything. And whosoever that is watching, thanks for doing the watching, and please share the video, and then share it on your social media platform, and encourage other people to also support this channel. It will do me a lot of good. Thank you, and then see you. Bye bye.